Hi, welcome to the shop. Today we're going to try our hand at making a self-healing target. You may have seen my other video, I know a lot of people have. I just happened to have dug out a heavy rubber mat that I couldn't use as a standing surface because it was so stiff. And so we're going to attempt to make this a self-healing target. It's kind of like horse stall mat, maybe a little thicker. It's got some ridges, which will actually make cutting straight lines really nice. The other side's got a different texture, which is fine. We're going to use the line side as the back and use it as guides for cutting, and the front for the painting and all that. So what we're going to do, I've got these little targets here that I want to use for my self-healing. I'm going to use one of these to make a template so that I can spray paint it to fill in all the holes over time. So we want a square chunk of rubber that's at least this big. I've already cut it down using a fine tooth blade on a Sawzall. And I'm not sure if the age of the rubber has helped me or if the fact that it was cold that helped me. It seemed to work pretty well. Like I said, this is a temp, not a tutorial. Your mileage may vary. If it's warm out, you might have to resort to some other method. But this was a big mat, cut a chunk off, and it's going to be big enough to do at least 3 of these targets without any problem. So first, I just want to figure out which one of these grooves I want to follow. This doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a medium to hold paint. And then I'm going to use a Sawzall with a fine blade and just run down the length of it. The fun part is I got to do it without cutting into my table. So, found my line. I'm just going to put a little mark next to it with a marker so I stay in the right line. This mat is kind of heavy, so if you have a friend that can help, it might be a good idea. Okay, that worked pretty well. I veered off a little, but I didn't set it up very good to do this. And on the upside, there's the bonus of the smell of burning rubber. So that certainly worked. Now I've got something that's only slightly bigger than the paper and covered in snow and dirt. So that's something you won't have to worry about if you buy a new mat. The length is still good on this. It's about 1 inch longer. I'm not even going to trim that. I could. I'm not that much of a perfectionist. So now I got to make a stencil, clean it up a little bit, and paint it. Okay, took it into the house, washed it off a little bit. Also got it to warm up a little bit. Moved it to the warm part of the shop here for the painting, so the paint will set up faster. And I'm going to do a base coat around the edges. I'm trying to drop this can as many times as possible. I'm trying out the Rust-Oleum 2X Ultra Cover Paint and Primer. That seems to be the go-to on these. And I'm using a light blue because I'm probably going to be shooting on a white background. I don't want it to blend in too much. Okay, that's a good coat. We'll let it dry up and then we'll try out my stencil. Okay, so I've got the center of my template laying on there. I've got positive and a negative, so I can do different colors and combos depending on what I want to shoot that day. I'm going to cut out a few more of these blocks, but for now we're just going to test this one. Using the same Rust-Oleum Ultra cover, just got it in a darker color this time, and there we go. Thick coverage. I'll peel that off, let it dry again, and then it's time to take it on the range and see if it does the shot indicating like I want. Oh yeah, that'll be easy to see. This will, with the dark background, if I hit the background, I shouldn't see any color change really. So it'll only indicate when I hit the light blue. Okay, so I've got my positive and my negative, which will be handy for doing touch-ups in the field. And I realized if I cut a hole here, that gives me a highlight spot where I can spray a different color or whatever. To give me a better representation of center mass, something more to aim for. Just a different way of doing it. And it won't hurt the way I use this stencil at all. So we're going to do that. Drill a hole in it. I traced out the red marker from the original target. I just laid it on top, scratched through the paper with my knife. That leaves enough mark for me to cut it out. That's how I traced out the rest. Instead of using my bandsaw, what I use for there, I'm going to use my jigsaw, which will let me get in and just remove this without having a big line from the side. So we're going to do that. Here we go. I just got a finish tooth, small blade, fits right in the hole I drilled, and we're just going to trace around the line. And just like that, we've added a little more of a personalized touch to our self-healing targets. So there we go. We got a nice little yellow spot in the middle. That'll give us shot indication. It's a light color on a black background. When it shoots, the paint should pop off and we should see the black, making it easy to tell where we hit. So stick around. We'll take it to the range and give her a few rounds. Okay, we're out at the range now. We're going to try the homemade self-healing target versus the ID brand self-healing target and compare them, nose to nose as it were. All right, ears, go ahead.
Whoa. That's 5, and I think I hit 1.
2.
Oh, good.
2 out of 5 ain't bad.
It's terrible.
Swap with me? All right, go ahead, give it a 5.
How come I can't see it now? There it is.
Yeah, sorry, it's a manufacturer defect. Nice. Here you
Hit him
go.
in the head.
Okay, we've got a few rounds each into the white target. We're going to switch to the homemade, move a camera, and see what happens with that one. Ooh. Oh. Oh dear God. Oh. Ow. Ow, quit it. Not too bad for an old guy who can't see his sights anymore. Whew. Not too bad for an old guy who can't see his sights anymore. Okay, so we've shot a bunch of rounds at both targets. We've got the name brand here and the built in the shop here. Custom. It's custom. It costs more. All right. So both of them are indicating shots. This one is giving a much bigger splatter. Heals up about the way it looked before. Now looking at this one, it's a much smaller splatter, but it's still dark and easy enough to see. Not from as big of a distance, but that looks like a good enough spot that I would feel okay using this to sight in a scope. This one is giving me a big enough indicator that I would want to walk out and look at the actual hole, because some of these are blowing paint off a little higher. Some are blowing it off from one side. This one, the dark spot is right pretty much where the bullet goes through. So for zeroing in, I like this one. I'm going to make more of them. I might make some bullseyes. I might make a fluffy bunny one. I haven't decided yet, but there will be holes. This one, it's acceptable. It's got a big enough splat that it makes it look more effective. So give it to somebody who hasn't shot in a while and say, you're doing good. Would I buy this again? Nah, costs too much. This wasn't a lot of work. And I can do it in festive colors. So, yeah, do what's right for you. If you need something a little less DIY, they make a bunch of different options. Nice thing about the 2x4 stop is I was able to just drive some nails in. It's holding up, other than the part where I blew it all to hell. And yeah, I thought the thicker one would be a problem. And there's a little more tear out in the back than with this one, but you can get thinner mats as well. I was at a big box store and they had some that I was looking at going, ooh, this one might be good for the next video. So yeah, there you go.